Hey everybody, Roxabox90 here, back with some more Eldritch Moon spoilers. I realized yesterday we forgot a card. Selfless Soul is 1 and a white for a 2/1 flyer. Spirit, sacrifice it, creatures you control get indestructible. No, it is not taking an arrow to the knee, although many people will be making that joke. I don't even know if that's that funny, but sure. 2 for a 2/1 flyer is fine. It really is. Really solid for limited, and fine stats for a constructed body. Having that ability to sacrifice it whenever you want to give creatures you control indestructible, that pushes it towards constructed playability. It is a spirit. So we'll see how far it gets in terms of playability. But all in all, it's a very solid card. In fact, we've seen a lot of these good white bears. White bears, hate bears. This is mostly just a white bear, but we've seen things like Thalia, Containment Priest, and such. This card fits right along those ranks as a very solid 2-drop. Nice to see. Chaos Reveler. Sweet artwork. 8 for a 3/4. Costs 1 less, or 1 generic less, for each instant or sorcery in your graveyard. Which, if you're playing this card, chances are you'll have 2 or 3 of them by turn 5-6. Because it has prowess. And then when it enters the battlefield, discard your hand and draw 3 cards. What's nice about this is that this card effect happens after you draw the cards, which means you don't risk losing of those 3 cards. You pretty much guaranteed to draw those 3. And then the fact that you can discard them fits very well with the Madness theme. You can also discard lands. If you end up hitting too many lands, there you go. Very solid card. I'm not freaking out about it, but it seems pretty good. Even in, Commander, I can definitely see this card seeing a push. It is a devil horror, and very solid mechanics for that. But also, it works very well in the standardized environment. So I'm not quite sure where it's going to fit in, but because the black-red aggro style decks are not really going to want it, those have their way in advance. They're going to have their Madness enablers and such. That's not really necessary. They're also not going to be quite as heavy in instant sorcery. It's going to be very creature heavy. So I'm not quite sure where it's going to fit exactly, but seems well designed for sure. Campaign of Vengeance is 5 for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life, gain 1 life. Whatever. Limited fodder. Cool flavor, though. There's not saving a world, not anymore. We shall have bloody vengeance. Whoa. Ride the Soren and the Rohirrim. Nahiri's Wrath. Yes, you brought this upon yourself, Soren. Nahiri's bringing it back. 2 and a red for a sorcery. As an additional cost, discard X cards. Deals damage equal to the converted total mana cost of the discarded cards to each of up to X target creatures or planeswalkers. So I had to breathe when I saw this card, because at first I thought, oh my god, this can hit creatures, planeswalkers, and players, which would be mind-bogglingly good. Seriously. Crazy good. It does not hit face. That brings it way down from good. Not to say it's bad. It's not a bad red mythic. It really isn't. You have to think about it in terms of when you discard the cards, the number of cards you discard is the number of targets you have, and then the converted mana costs in terms of the number of damage. So this can get out of hand very quickly, especially if you connect it with Madness. Realize it's going to be a weird card to place in terms of a main deck, because you're going to need to have either really cheap Madness to play this early, or more expensive Madness for later, but then it defeats the purpose of being an aggressive deck. And you're also only hitting creatures or planeswalkers, which is a little bit more narrow, because those decks would want more of a finishing piece. Not quite sure. I'm guessing this will be a 1 to 2 of in main decks, maybe sideboard off, and likely see some play at least in Commander. Not quite sure, though, how much of a splash. Just one of those cards that seems like it has its place, but it may very well end up a jank method no one wants to use ever. One or the other. Spell Queller, sweet artwork, 3 for a 2/3 flash flyer. When it enters the battlefield, exile target spell with convert mana cost 3 or 4 or less. And when it leaves the battlefield, it can cast that card without paying its mana cost. What's interesting about this, it seems really good. It's well statted, flash effect. Most removal spells, as an example, most wrath spells are 4 or less. So literally sweeping this card in to act as a Fiend Hunter or Oblivion Ring style effect off of a spell is very unusual. I don't even know if we've seen another card like that. But even if we have, this is a very effective card. It's also a Spirit, again, making it very playable in Spirit-related decks. I think it's great. I really do. Dark Salvation is XX and 1 for sorcery. Target player gets X/2/2 zombies, and then up to 1 target creature gets 1/1 until end of turn for each zombie the player controls. Fits with the Liliana theme. I don't think it's incredibly playable at sorcery speed. We've seen similar cards to this. Like we saw that mythic from, I forget which set, that had, it was XX with Delve that let you get zombies. That was instant speed and it still didn't really push it. I don't think this card's going to do it either, but it's a great flavor piece and solid for limited because it's a mana dump. Fortune's Favor is 3 and a black for an instant. A 3 and a blue, gosh, for an instant. Target opponent looks at the top 4 cards, separates into 2 face down, a face down and a face up pile. Put 1 pile in your hand, the other in graveyard. When it says face up, face down, does that mean you get to see the whole pile? Because if so, it's a bizarro fact or fiction. Obviously not as good, not even close. But Fueling Delirium at instant speed, while really drawing 2 cards for 4, seems very good and limited. Noose Constrictor is 2 for a 2/2 reach, discard a card, 1/1, again, enabling, this is more for limited, enabling Madness. And Delirium. Wolfkin Bond is 5 for an enchant creature, enters the battlefield, put a 2/2 wolf, and it gets 2/2. Not a good card, period. It really isn't. In limited, this is just not going to get there, even if, because it's going to lead inevitably into 2-for-1s. The pump is not very high. The 2/2 wolf is not very good. You wouldn't want one without the other. And for 5 mana, it just seems a real stretch. So, that's it we got for tonight. I know it's not a crazy amount. Particularly Nahiri's Wrath and Spell Queller really stood out to me. But let me know what you guys think about these cards down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, please tap the like button. If you're new to the channel, check in and subscribe. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.